about monopoly capital and not speak about white monopoly?
I think when the president closed it, he put the context very well, that the enemy of the National Democratic Revolution is monopoly capital. In our situation, the dominance of white ownership does characterize that monopoly capital in South Africa. Therefore, he made us to think more deeply about form and content.
Why not speak of established capital?
Now, the oppression in South Africa, exploitation, was actually in three contradictions that are always highlighted in our NTR: race, class, and gender. So you can't avoid, when you actually deal with the content, expressing that the economy in managerial position is still dominated by white male. It comes every time when it is a report of the employment equity, or saying that actually women are not making as quick advances as possible as this. That's why the question of white monopoly capital is more on the content than the actual form and the description of the actual primary enemy of the revolution.
The president also went on to speak about what has been said, that South Africa suffered from colonialism of a different kind, which some countries have accused South Africa of practicing some exceptionalism of form. I know even North Africa, specifically Egypt, have been accused of this. So then how does South Africa, specifically the ANC, respond then to that debate of, especially in this context of exceptionalism?
Colonialism of a special time was 1962. It came out of the Communist Party, a program of 1962, Road to South African Freedom. And it has been an analysis of the character of our colonization. It's not like, let's take Mozambique. Mozambique is colonized by Portuguese, who still have Portuguese citizenship. In South Africa, you have the Dutch, the French, the Germans, all of them now calling themselves Afrikaners. And they develop a language because they see themselves as citizens of South Africa. They have no dual citizenship. Now, that is the reality that the concept of colonialism of a special was dealing with. That's why when we deal with the colonization, in developing that concept, we identified the three primary and basic interrelated contradictions of racial oppression, class super exploitation, and patriarchal power relations in society. So that's the three issues of colonialism of a special time.
I think
so that is not new in
your literature.
Conceptualization.
Absolutely, SG. The reason I asked this is that President Zuma also ended it by saying that what has been further entrenched is a non-racial character of the ANC. And obviously when you're discussing some of these things, there are those who said the rhetoric coming out of those who are speaking about white monopoly capital has been to deter attention from what they see as practices of corruption. So it deflects from the nature of those kinds of things. So that it be, spoken about in context is important, especially moving forward on this issue of RET.
Yes, the reality of the matter, at the beginning of the conference, we did talk to those issues in detail, by the way, of never using concepts for populist purpose or for being popular and want to win quick support and popularity, because that poses a threat to the revolution. We did talk to that, and that's why when we talk about this concept, we must talk to them and put the context correct. In the presentation of strategies and tactics, Comrade Nati Mtetwa did talk to the question of form and content. Many of the younger delegates wouldn't understand the issue. I think the president was being emphatic about the understanding of form and conduct.
Let's talk about the succession debate, Mr. Mantashe. President Jacob Zuma saying on 2 points.
Yeah.
Saying that we need to end the factionally driven nature of succession debates, but also mooting a suggestion made by KwaZulu-Natal that perhaps the loser of the presidential race should become the deputy president, and saying that if you also argue that the branches should be able to choose a deputy president, then perhaps we should start talking about a second deputy president. My question is, there's also been debate about what is the ANC's actual position on who is supposed to succeed the president of the party when he steps down.
There's no debate about that. The president who is elected by conference will be the president of the ANC. Simple. There's no debate about that.
So not necessarily that the deputy president takes over?
No. The conference will elect a president and a deputy president. There's no debate about that. In motivating the case of each other, people come with all concepts that are actually motivation for candidates, whether you call it, there's a tradition of deputies taking over, or it should be a woman president. Those concepts are thrown to motivate candidates. The president of the ANC will be the one elected by conference. So there is no pre-ordained president. We'll go to conference. That's why there's a debate. But what was the president doing, which is still an idea, it's not policy, okay? It was to say, here is an idea to deal with question of factions and slates, and he chose that idea. And I'm sure as that debate is unfolding, other new ideas will come on how best can we deal with slates and factions, because they are costly to the ANC.
All in all, it's a successful conference that you leave united.
We're closer to each other than when we came.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
It's work in progress.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, Secretary General.